Welcome to the Daily for Monday, May 3rd with Greg Lawless. I'm Jason Segini. Greg, huge weekend of MLS action, all 16 teams playing. What was your reaction to those games?
Well, I think the first thing, obviously, are the red cards. There were 5 red cards in these games, including 2 to New England. The Revs did well, I thought, to get the draw at home against Dallas. But the other one, of course, the big boys all came through. New York and Los Angeles on top of their respective conferences. They both get wins. New York, I thought, overpowered D.C. after withstanding pressure in the first half. And L.A. just flowing all over the place to get by Philadelphia 3-1.
Yeah, and speaking of L.A., it's time for the Monday headliners. Well, if it's Monday, Edson Buddle must be in the headlines. And Greg, this week he did it by turning provider for the first goal to A.J. De La Garza within the first minute.
Really nice play from Edson Buddle. Getting down the left side. It was a flowing move from L.A. all the way through. And then Buddle's pass across to see De La Garza on the late arriving run on the far post. I thought was a brilliant play by Buddle and shows something else about his game. Obviously, he gets back to it and says, hey, guys, okay, we broke that streak of me scoring all the goals. Now I'll get back to it. And he ended up with 2 more himself.
Yeah, Buddle playing well, giving no reason for Bob Bradley to leave him out of this 30-man camp now. Doing it, like you said, providing but also scoring when he has to.
Yeah, let's just one thing quickly before we move on is that we should also mention the 17-year-old Jack McInerney scored his first pro goal ever, which I thought was a very nice finish, number 1. Right. And number 2, the guy is a star. He's going to be a star, I guarantee it.
The fans of Philadelphia are definitely looking forward to seeing more of that throughout his career. Another forward who scored a goal, and I think the fans in his town were definitely looking forward to, and that's Luis Landin, who got on the board for the Dynamo in a big rout of KC.
Hey, after Jeff Cameron went down with that injury to his knees, saying, okay, he's going to be out for most of the season, everyone was saying, who's going to step up? Brian Ching is out. Finally, Luis Landin showing that he maybe is that DP player. However, let's remember, Kansas City were down to 10 men after the Davy Arnaud red card. Right. We can debate that one all day long. The other thing, Dominic Oduro, in my mind, had the best game of his MLS career. He was all over the place for Houston.
Yeah, I think they actually were a very good tandem. They played well together. Yeah. The extra space on the field helped Oduro. I think that's his game, and getting wide and being able to take players on. But Landin almost scored 2 goals, almost had a few assists in that game. He definitely played well and did what Houston's paying him to do.
And he forced the White Puma into what is arguably one of the best saves of the weekend as well. So Jimmy Nielsen, the goalkeeper for Kansas City, coming up huge, even though he let in 3 goals in the end.
Yeah, definitely a nice play by Jimmy Nielsen and a great game overall by him. Another game we wanted to touch on was the continued dominance of the San Jose Earthquakes.
Dominance. Well, I don't know about dominance.
Well, let's say in the last 11 games, Colorado is 0-8-3 against San Jose.
I guess that's dominating.
So they win the game when they play, and Chris Wondolowski took a great effort by him, but great goal and
incredible goal. An incredible goal by Wondolowski. A striker's goal. He gets the ball, doesn't even take a touch. He just spins and fires it up underneath the crossbar with his left foot. And you know what? This is a San Jose team that's making a statement in this game because Colorado came into it with people thinking the Rapids might be contenders for the Western Conference, the guys who were going to challenge the Galaxy for the top spot. Instead, San Jose said, wait a second, we're in this as well, and we have a chance as well to be one of those contenders to certainly at least make the playoffs.
Yeah, and a big difference for them with Andre Luis on the field versus off the field. If he's on the field, they have tempo in the midfield, they control the game a little better. It's probably a lot of the experience that he has. With him on the field, they contend against all the teams they play.
And speaking of midfielders controlling the game, what's going on with Toronto? Preki shaking everything up and leaving Dwayne De Rosario and Julian de Guzman on the bench to start the game. And you know what? They lost. I mean, in some ways, you leave that much talent, that much of your salary cap on the bench, you're really hampering your chances, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pressure on the coach here. Yep. You have to look at it as they weren't winning games with those guys on the field.
Not necessarily.
You know, so you switch it up. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the right move to me. If you ask me, the coaches, the fans, the players, everybody wants to see De Rosario and de Guzman on the field when Toronto takes the field.
Definitely, because they have the talent, they have the ability. It's just a question of putting it all together. And if you're not playing them regularly, it's hard for them to find a rhythm.
Speaking of talented players, Greg, Clint Dempsey scoring again for Fulham this weekend.
And they get a 3-2 win. Ultimately, those 3 points don't matter that much for them because they're going to end up in the middle of the pack in the EPL. More important is preparing for the Europa League final, which is on May 12th against Atletico Madrid. Dempsey didn't start the last Europa League match against Hamburg, but he is looking to get into the lineup against Atletico Madrid in the final. So that should be pretty big. Also, Aston Villa and Brad Friedel, they lost over the weekend to Man City, and it looks like their chances of getting into that Champions League spot are done.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
You can email us at thedaily@mlssoccer.com. Otherwise, we're out for today. See you tomorrow.